Alright guys, before I start, I want you to go ahead and grab a pencil, and notebook paper or even blank paper is fine, because I'm going to have you take some notes so that you can use it on the IXL activity I'm asking you to do this week, as well as on other activities. So today we're going to talk about classifying triangles, so let's go ahead and write that as our title, classifying triangles. Okay, and then what I want you to do is we are going to create a chart. So first of all, I want you to go ahead and draw a line all the way across your paper like this, and then we're going to split it into 4 parts. So how you can do that is you can split the page in half first, going down like that, and then you can split both halves in half, so that you end up with 4 roughly equal parts. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to talk about what do all triangles have in common. So in this category right here, we're going to go ahead and write all triangles. Okay, so thinking, before I just write stuff, I want you all to think about it. What are the things that all triangles have in common? Remember that when we talk about shapes, we talk about angles, we talk about sides. What can you already tell me about triangles? Okay, well, the first thing I think of is that a triangle always has 3 angles. Always has 3 angles, and you can kind of make bullet points for them. Okay, so that's the first thing, right? Always has 3 angles. And what would these angles all add up to? They actually all add up to 180 degrees, so we can say all angles add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so even though all those angles always add up to 180 degrees when you're dealing with triangles, the angles are going to look different. Triangles aren't all the same, right? So let's start with right triangles. So the word right is going to be very familiar to you, right? What kind of an angle do you think of when you think of a right angle? You usually think of something that looks like this, right? You have a line going straight up and down, and another line going straight left and right. And a lot of time we go ahead and draw this square to symbolize that, hey, this is a right angle, and it measures, what does it measure? It measures 90 degrees, right? So let's get in a habit. When we're drawing triangles, we're going to go ahead and label those angles. So I would go ahead and write an R right here to just show that that is a right triangle. Now we need to close it off. So we're going to go ahead and close it off like that. And we will label these 2 angles, but let's do that in a little bit because I want to give you a little bit more information before we go ahead and go back and label those angles. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a comment that the one requirement of a right triangle is that it has 1 right angle. And again, we'll talk about these 2 later. Okay, what is next? Okay, the next one would be an obtuse triangle, or obtuse triangles. Okay, so obtuse just means bigger than 90 degrees, right? So it's going to be even wider. So we can start this triangle the same way by drawing kind of a flat line on the bottom. That's going to be one side, but we don't want to draw it up and down. We want to make this line wider, right? So then we can go ahead and close it. And we might not know the exact measurement of this angle, but what we do know is that it's wider than 90 degrees, right? Maybe we could say, just for the sake of example, that this is 108 degrees, okay? And then I would go ahead and label this as O for obtuse triangle. Okay. So the definition of an obtuse triangle is just a triangle that has 1 obtuse, which remember, obtuse just means more than 90-degree angle. Okay, and then we have one more kind of triangle, and I want you to think back. We actually talked about right angles, we talked about obtuse angles, and we talked about acute angles. So this is another kind of triangle as well. We have acute triangles. And kind of like this was obtuse because it was more than 90 degrees, this is going to be acute because it is less than 90 degrees. And one way you can remember that is it is just a cute little triangle, right? It's smaller than the obtuse and the right. It's a cute little triangle. So when we're drawing this, we can start with the bottom side, and then you just want to have this angle be more narrow than 90 degrees. So we're not going to go up and down. We're going to go maybe in this direction so that this right here is an acute angle. Okay, and I want you to notice something. We're going to write A here for acute, and who knows, maybe that's like 57 degrees. The important thing is it's less than 90, right? But also when we connect these are also going to be acute. So this is kind of special with acute angles. They all have to be acute, right? So here we want to write has only acute angles. Okay, and now we can kind of go back to our other triangles, because if we look at them, do these remaining angles look wider than a right angle or less wide? Well, they all look less wide, right? They're all less than 90 degrees. So we can go ahead and label the remaining angles as acute because they are less than 90 degrees. Okay, I'm going to show y'all something that you can work out on your own, and this will be uploaded as a PDF. So I want you to look at this chart, and this goes over a lot of the same stuff we just did, right? So y'all can complete this on notebook paper, just kind of trying your best to draw this over, or it can be printed on the PDF that I'll upload on this classroom, Google Classroom link. Okay, so let's look at this top one. It gives us an example, right? And what it's telling us is it says, for each triangle in the chart, record the number of each type of angle, then classify the triangle as right, obtuse, or acute. So they did this one for us. So if it wasn't done for us, the first thing I would notice is we have a right angle right here, right? So I would go ahead and draw that symbol, and then I would just start marking. And remember, with our notes, if we have a right angle, the other two are necessarily going to be acute, right? So we'd put A there, A here, and then let's just check their work. So did we have two acute angles? We did, right? There were no obtuse angles, and then we had one right angle. So because of that one right angle that we have, this is going to be classified as a right triangle. Okay, I want y'all to go ahead and work on labeling the rest of these. You don't have to upload the answers to this, but I think it will be very helpful for you. What I would like you to upload today is your answer to these two questions. Okay, so it's asking you, what is the greatest number of right angles any triangle had? Explain why you think this is true. And then, what did you notice about the number of acute triangles for, or I'm sorry, the number of acute angles for all triangles? Okay, so I'd like you to upload the answer to questions 6 and 7 today, and that will be your grade for math for today. Remember, guys, if you have any questions, please make a comment on Google Classroom, make a comment on the YouTube video. Actually, Google Classroom is the best way because I check that more often, so definitely leave a comment if you need help with any of this. Alright, see you next time.